Hello. Hi, everybody. Nice to see all of you on this beautiful Thursday. Hope everyone is having a great morning. Oh, just gonna... Hi, everybody. Nice to see all of you on this beautiful Thursday. Hope everyone is... Okay, there we go. Okay, see, everyone is trickling in. How's everybody doing today? I know it's like super snowy outside and really like cloudy. I thought it was going to be a little bit gloomy, but I wasn't expecting snow. I think I was one of those suckers who like fell for the good weather thinking it was springtime, and unfortunately it was not. So as I was, dancing to Throwback Thursday in the car, I was like, gotta keep both hands on the wheel, gotta keep both hands on the wheel. So if any of you saw anyone driving and dancing out there, is probably me. Where's everyone calling from today? Are most of you in Calgary? I think most of the time most of you are, but generally you guys seem to be all over Alberta as well. Put it in the chat. I'd love to see you guys. A lot of you look familiar. Grand Prairie, Hinton. Oh, Hinton, that's really close to Jasper. I'm actually going to Jasper next week. I'm really excited. If you guys have any suggestions on like places to eat, especially, I'd love to hear it. Dawson Creek, nice to see you, Becky. Hi, Allison from Fort Mac. Chantel from Red Deer. Is everyone having a good day, good week? I'm really surprised it's the end of March already and it's April. Honestly, I feel like this year is just flying by. Nanaimo, BC. I have never been there, but I would definitely love to go there. Vancouver. Hi, Brad. Hi, Carmen. See, we already got a question. Folding Mountain Brewery. Okay, good to know. Thanks, Dana. Murray, yes, the webinar will be on YouTube. It is live streaming on there right now, but it will also be available to watch after. So we'll be sure to include a link in the follow-up email that we send out. Awesome. I'm going to give everyone a couple more minutes to just trickle in here. Okay, thanks, Dana. I will be sure to check it out. I have been to Jasper before, but never in the winter. So I'm a little bit excited for like a little like winter wonderland kind of situation. Hopefully it'll be fun. I don't know. Hopefully it's like cold enough to go skating and stuff. But what I really want is to see like the northern lights, but the stars there are so beautiful. So I think it'd be fun. Athabasca Falls and Annette Lake. Thanks, Dana. I'm guessing you've been to Jasper quite a few times. I will be sure to add those to my list. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's like what Canmore is for me, from Calgary, so I understand, but I will definitely check that out. Thank you. Great, so I'll give it a couple more minutes. Hope everybody's having a great Thursday, staying warm in the snow. Hopefully most of you didn't have to drive much. Naomi, Moraine Lake is like my absolute favorite place to go. It's unfortunate that it's closed for a good chunk of the year, but I am excited to go there in the summer. Kayaking there is a lot of fun too. Definitely, I'm going to take those ice picks. Thanks again, Dana. I will also check that out. Awesome. So are most of you using certificates already? I didn't really set up a poll this time, but maybe if you just want to put it in the chat. I'm pretty sure that almost everybody I have really talked to through Workhub is using certificates. Some of you use certificates more than you even use online courses. So there are a couple new features that we have added in that I'm really excited to show you just in case you haven't seen it already. I know most of you have kind of a good idea on the certificates, but there are a couple things that I think are worth pointing out and clarifying. Yeah, certificates. I mean, I I was trying to do some research in terms of certificates and compliance and, you know, how they kind of work together and whether they go hand in hand or not. And I know that they do, but I feel like you guys are definitely more the safety expert on that. You know, than I am. There wasn't like a lot of information out there, but of course training is so integral to a safety program. You know, if you ever need to show it for audit purposes or, you know, for liabilities or just to have that documentation trail, it's really important to kind of track that through the certificates tool. You know, and of course, like within a workplace safety program, your goal is always to minimize incidents, maximize awareness, alertness, and keep your employees like healthy, happy, and safe and productive. And, you know, that really creates like a good safety environment for them. And so, of course, employees need regular training in order to keep that safety top of mind. And so you can bring it forward in different forms, like even policies and procedures, you know, tracking that training through certificates is also really, really important. You know, especially because it ties in so strongly to that education program of a safety program. And that's, you know, really, really key for keeping safety strong within your organization. Oh, audio issues. Does that make it any better? Okay, awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here with you guys. Hello.
How's it going?
Good, thanks. I just have a surprise visitor, Mike. He's here. He will be on the chat as well. It's already going. Okay. See you later. Alrighty. Okay, sorry guys. So we're gonna get into certificates here. So as I was saying, they are really important for your safety program and a really key part. So I just want to show you guys what it looks like on the worker side first. So what your workers are going to see when they begin. So I think you guys can all see that. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Okay, sorry, I was on the admin side here. All right, so as you can see, when we're first looking at the worker dashboard from the worker side, Mo here, he has 3 certificates to do and 3 that are done. And this is a little bit new, the status here. So being able to kind of see at a glance what's going on in the certificate. So you can see here that he has 2 expired and 1 coming due. So I think that's really helpful, like especially if you're looking at it on like mobile or something like that, because you know, maybe they've gotten a compliance email telling them that they have like, I don't know, 102 tasks to do or something. And they're like, what do I have to do? And at least it tells them on the certificates, like some of your certificates are expired. So if the worker clicks into this, you will see there's a couple different statuses here. So this waiting for approval one did used to say pending, but that's kind of changed to waiting for approval. We actually used to have workers like messaging and calling us all the time saying like that their certificate was pending and asking us to push it through. And we had to really explain to them that, you know, because each organization manages safety so differently, it is up to their safety team or HSC person or safety admin in order to approve that certificate, because of course there are certain things that you will be looking for and you want to make sure that that certificate is kind of complying with the standards that you have set, of course for audit purposes or whatever the case is. And so yeah, exactly. So sorry. So the status there, you will see that new one that says waiting for approval, as well as the other thing to show here is you have that current status and you have that current until. So this is really great because again, just by looking at the list here, which is easy to see on mobile, you can easily see the expiry date of the certificate itself. versus this one here, this health and safety one, which actually has no expiry date, and that's why it's just showing current. So that is also something a little bit different that we've added that just makes it a little bit easier for the worker to also see what's going on with their certificates. Now I'm going to go ahead and click into oh, and sorry, one more thing here. The worker can actually click on the status and kind of sort it by status here. So you can see the status or the certificate type itself, which just sorts it alphabetically. So again, easy for them if they have a bigger list, maybe they have like 30 or 40 certificates assigned to them or something like that. Or, maybe if they're looking at the list of all, this just makes it a little bit easier for them to kind of see what is going on, what they have to do, and kind of prioritize their certificates in that order. So if we go ahead and click into this one here that is waiting for approval, there are some things I want to show you here. So the first thing, of course, if the certificate is linked to an online course, you will see over here it says there's online training available, and click Start Now. And clicking the Start Now button will take you straight into the course itself. So of course that link is established on the admin side, and we will go into details on that as well. But that's basically what the worker will see if you do have the course and the certificate linked to each other. As well, they have the ability to download the certificate itself in case they need the file or anything like that. And something that is new in terms of a certificate that is waiting for approval is this button here to edit. So as you can see, the upload new button is grayed out, and that's again another setting that is controlled on the admin side. But because they have a certificate uploaded there that is actually pending approval, because that certificate is pending approval, rather than uploading a new one and creating another submission on the admin side, they can go ahead and click the edit button. Now this will allow them to, adjust the certificate name if needed, or the expiry date, or maybe they forgot to add in the certificate number. So we're just going to go ahead and add that certificate number in now. So that's also really convenient. They can also rotate or crop, just in case, or download this. And, once they're done, they can go ahead and hit save. Now, if the worker wanted to replace this file entirely, they could just hit remove, and it would actually remove the certificate, and they could browse their computer, and they could, basically upload the certificate again, and that would be in there. And once they're done, made all the changes that they need to make, they can go ahead and hit save. And that will keep that certificate in that waiting for approval status and just update the entry on the admin side. So rather than you seeing multiple certificates now uploaded that are the same, but have some varying information, this is all right there. Now, another thing to show is on this one, for example, that is current. Of course, the edit button is now grayed out because you can't edit a certificate that's already been approved, but you do have the ability to upload a new one. So just in case, there has been a new certification, or, they've taken the training course again or something like that, they just want to upload a better quality version of the certificate or something like that, they can go ahead and hit upload new. And they can also download this version. Now, for something else that's a little new, we have this history button in the top right corner here. So if they go ahead and actually click history, it pulls up this log, and this is really, really awesome. I think it's really awesome. So on this one, you can see you have your prior certificate in there, and it shows that the status of that certificate. So it shows that certificate was expired, as well as showing you the issue date and the current status of the certificate itself. Now, if you go ahead and click on it, it will actually show you a previous version of the certificate. So they can see the previously uploaded certificate that is now expired, and they can actually go ahead and download this as well if they need to. And it just downloads a little like a JPG file onto their computer. And just in case they need it for their records or anything like that. But the ability to kind of access that history of a certificate that is expired, I think, is convenient on the worker side, especially with it kind of being laid out this way. So there's no confusion as to which one is approved and which one is expired, because they're seeing the most current one and they can always switch back over, and they're seeing the most current one with the status and all the details, but still have the ability to access that previous one. And then, so the next one I want to show you is this one that is expired. So on this certificate itself, there is actually a training session scheduled. And so I will show you how to do some scheduled training on the admin side as well. But as you can see, this is what it does look like on the worker side. So they can see the date and time of the training, as well as the training provider, the instructor, and any note that the admin has left for them. So this is really great way for admins to kind of track and then ensure that the worker is receiving that scheduled training. There are a couple ways to notify, which I will show you as well. But the worker can choose here to either confirm or decline. And if they hit confirm, it confirms. And if they hit decline, it will show up on the admin side as that training has been declined. So also convenient, you know, if a worker is looking at their expired certificate, they're like, oh my God, my certificate is expiring. And then for them to see like, oh, there's already been training scheduled for me. Perfect. I can get that done. No problem. I think that's pretty convenient. And it's a great way to display it as well. So I think that's a pretty good overview of the worker side of certificates. What I do want to show you now is what worker ID will look like. So of course, when the worker first pulls up worker ID, they're going to land on this page. So they have the option to either access their compliance abstract or to check their location access. So we're going to go into the compliance abstract, and as you can see, the certificates are listed at the top. Of course, the green indicates that they're completed, whereas the yellow indicates like that they're either pending, in progress, or like coming due. So you have the expiry dates here. This one says doing this workplace acknowledgement, because if you remember on the worker side, that one was actually pending and waiting for approval. And so, sorry, it was waiting for approval. That's the new status, not pending. So because it's waiting for approval, that's what it shows doing here, just to kind of show that that is in progress. And so there are some more actions that need to be taken before that one is considered current, but it's something has also already been done on it. So if I click into this one, for example, the driver's license here, you can basically preview the certificate. So this is what the worker will see on their phone or their tablet or whatever they're looking at. So they have their certificate preview here. They can also go ahead and download. So this will just download that certificate file to their device. Also convenient if they need to access it offline or something like that. And then the other option you have here is to email. So if they are on a third-party site or a contractor site, or, you know, just going somewhere and their admin is like, we need a copy of that certificate, they can go ahead and just enter the email address of the person that needs that copy of the certificate here and go ahead and hit send, and the certificate will automatically be sent to them as a file with an attachment. So that's also a really convenient way for them to be able to share their certificates, you know, if they are on site or anything like that. Just to ensure that their documents are kind of in order. And so if, you know, even if it's an auditor who is like, I need a copy of your certificate since you're on site, they can easily pull this up and just send it directly to them. So that's also something that's a little bit new on the worker ID portion. So that would be the worker ID portion. And I think I will take some questions now, and then if you guys have any on the worker side, if they are on the admin side, we'll just go back and address them there. Awesome. So I have a question here from Don. With the feature of only being able to upload, some of them have more than one. Yes, absolutely, Don. And on the admin side, you can also change that setting. So I will show you how to do that, so that your worker can also upload multiple submissions for the same certificate if that is necessary. Okay, Fred, the monthly email will show them which certificates are expired. It should show the items that are coming due as well, but this is something that we have also discussed to show on that. Sean, can we change the certificate, save the wallet card instead? Unfortunately, not at this moment, but it is definitely something that we could consider as a feature. So we will be sure to include the product board link in the follow-up email as well, and maybe you can suggest it in there. And then another one for Fred on online course completion, can we auto approve them and receive a notice that the course is completed? So if you do have the course and the certificate linked, which again, I will discuss on the admin side, the certificate will be automatically approved, so it will not show pending. You won't receive a notification that the course is complete, but you will be able to see it on the workers' compliance. Awesome. Great. Okay. Thanks for your questions, guys. If you do have some more, just feel free to put them in the Q&A, and then we'll just switch over to the work admin side here, and I can show you guys how to do that. So if we click go to admin, so sorry, before we do that, two new things I also want to point out. I know this isn't necessarily certificates, but one thing I want to point out here is this like beautiful blue. We've actually introduced some custom branding, so you can kind of make your Workhub page for your workers, you know, kind of match your organization and their colors and stuff. So on the admin side, under the accounts page, you will see a tab for custom branding, and you can go ahead and change that there and, you know, update your organization colors and stuff like that. And another thing, I know this isn't entirely new, but we do have this kind of go to admin. Previously, it used to just say admin, and I think it was like a wrench icon or something like that. But I think this makes it a little bit easier, you know, as an admin when you're switching back and forth between portals to kind of tell which side you're on, and, you know, have that ability to know, especially if you're new. I think it's really convenient to see that says go to admin, and then you know you're going to the admin side. So we're going to switch over to the admin side here. I'm sure most of you guys are more familiar with this page than you are with the other page. So yes, let's get into it. So on the certificates, of course, we have that one kind of notification button, which is just indicating that we have one certificate to approve. So if you hover on it, of course, it kind of tells you that. And if we click into it, so this is what the certificate kind of list looks like. And on the admin side, we typically refer to it as a certificate type or a certificate category, because really you're kind of creating like that type in order for workers to be able to upload individual certificates into it. So that's kind of how we refer to it. So of course you're seeing like the name of the certificate type here. You're seeing whether that certificate type is active or not active. You have your assignments. So this will show you, the first number indicates how many positions this certificate type is required for, and the second number indicates how many positions that this is optional for. Of course, you have your compliance bar as well. So at a glance, you can see the compliance on the certificate type itself. Another column we have here now is pending submission. So you can see on the certificate type itself that this one, for example, the workplace orientation acknowledgement, has one pending submission. And then on the next column over here is scheduled. So we have like, this refers to the scheduled training. So this will show you how many workers are set for scheduled training for that certificate type as well. Now, if you have less than 100 workers in your portal, you will also be able to download this compliance matrix. If you have more than 100 workers, you can contact us and we'd be happy to help you out with that. Just send us a chat or something. But this will basically show you the like positions and requirements, you know, and the completions, like the compliance, etc., on all of the certificate types as well. So that's definitely a convenient report. A lot of you do ask for that, so I just wanted to point that out. And then it's very simple for us to go ahead here and add a certificate category. So you can just go ahead and hit add certificate. And you will see a list kind of pre-populated of ones that are the most used or the most common. So you have multiple ones here that you can choose from. But if, of course, you are adding one that is not on this list, you can always go ahead and hit other and then hit continue. And then you can change the name. So this could be like anything that you need here. And then of course you have all of the settings here. So I'm going to show you on a certificate type that is already created, so I can show you some of the different settings that we have in here. So for example, let's go ahead and click on this one first. Okay, so of course, first you have the active and inactive toggle. I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with this, but basically if there is a case, I think like WMIS is the most common case where we had like that old WMIS course that was then superseded by that newer WMIS course. And so you may need to kind of keep those records of that previous certificate, but you want to create a new certificate type altogether, and because everyone needs to be recertified, and just kind of have that. Since they're kind of two separate courses, you can always toggle this one to make it inactive and then create another one. So of course, that's what the active inactive will do. The next setting we have here, the suggested expiry. So that's set to 60 months right now, but you can of course change that. If you make it blank, it means that there will not be an expiry date entered on the certificate. Now, I do want to point out that if a worker uploads a certificate and they put in a specific expiry date in that, the expiry will be flagged on the expiry date that is entered in there. So you can override this kind of setting if you need to. On the individual certificate itself, but otherwise, you would just kind of put in a suggested expiry here. Now, the next one here, and this kind of to answer your question, Dana, this is probably where you would toggle that. And here you have the option of allowing multiple pending submissions. So as I was saying, on the worker side, there may be cases where you do not want your worker to kind of have the ability to upload multiple files into the same certificate type, whether that's just keeping it more organized for the admin's sake, or, whether it's because the worker accidentally uploaded it twice because it was waiting for approval and they weren't sure what to do. Or, sometimes they are editing a small detail, and so they end up kind of submitting an entirely new submission, when it's just to edit that small detail. So to save you from playing that game of like spot the difference, you can turn this off. But if you do have, like if you are storing all of your company orientations in one certificate type and you need them to upload multiple files, you can absolutely toggle this on. Now, the great thing is that this setting is specific to the certificate type as well. So it's not like if you toggle it on, then you're allowing multiple submissions for all certificates, right? It's only for that type. So for company orientations, sorry, I said Dana, but it was Dawn Stone who asked that question in the chat. So Dawn, that's probably the setting that you would want to toggle on that specific certificate type there. Now, the next one we have is flag as expired when the worker is made inactive. Of course, there are cases, of course, I think drug and alcohol tests are the ones that I see the most, where a worker may not be working for your company, or sorry, like they are working on a project basis. So they work for you for 3 months and then they're off for 2 months and they come back, and, while they may not need to redo their WMIS or their TDG certification, they do need to redo their drug test. And so you may want to keep this on. Now, I do want to point out that this is not retroactive. So if you are turning this on, now, workers that have already made inactive, at any date before today, this will unfortunately not apply to them. So you may see that certificate still come back as current if the expiry date is still in the future. So, and then the next one we have is applies to, and here you have the option of picking whether the certificate applies to the employee, the contractor, or both. So of course there are cases where, you may have a position called operator or something like that, and you have like 25 employees and 35 contractors in there, right? And so maybe the specific certificate applies only to one of those types of workers. So you can kind of fine tune the assignments that way. there are times that, you know, you may have a certificate that is assigned to a certain position, and you may notice one worker in a position is seeing the certificate and one is not. So I would encourage you to kind of check this setting if you are experiencing that issue, because oftentimes this is what's kind of causing that. Awesome. I know that's a lot. There's still a little bit more to come, but hopefully you guys are still with me and following along. Great. Great. Okay, so yeah, if you have any questions as I'm going through, just feel free to put it in the Q&A, and I will absolutely like check into it after. Awesome. Okay, so the next one, now I'm going to go into the online course connection. This one is huge. I think a lot of you are using it. So I just want to explain like how it works and what it does really. So I think there was a question for Fred about this as well. So with the online course connection, what you basically have the ability to do is to link that online course to the certificate, right? So if a worker completes the training that is available on Workhub, the certificate will automatically be uploaded into this category here. Right, so it will automatically be uploaded, and then even if you do have the settings set so that the certificate does need to be approved, because it's completed through the online course on Workhub, it will just be automatically approved, so keep that in mind. And now the great thing, and as we were seeing, sorry, one more thing, as we were seeing on Mo's side, we had that kind of banner across the top of the certificate that said like, you know, there is online training, click here to start now. And so you can, you know, establishing this online course connection link is what kind of shows the worker that on their side. So I know there are some companies out there who even have their online courses all set as optional, and they have their certificate set as required, and so they basically track completion of their training through the certificate. So that is definitely another way to do that. I know some companies out there do it through both. It's whatever works best for your organization, of course. I do want to point out, so if you do click here, you will basically see a list of all of the courses you have on Workhub. Now, this could also be custom courses that you have created. So you could absolutely link those to a certificate, and it will give you like that Workhub certificate in there. So it's great to have that ability to also link your own custom courses here. And then I will point out, like, for example, you can see this one is grayed out, and the reason is that that is actually attached to another certificate type. So you cannot have multiple courses linked to, like, you can only have one certificate linked to one course. You can't have more than one kind of interacting. Now, one thing I also want to point out about this tool is it actually works both ways. So I know most of you guys are aware, you know, from the online course, it populates the certificate. But if you ever do hire someone who has certificates, and let's say they haven't done their training courses on Workhub and you want to give them credit, rather than having to use the classroom results tool, you know, which it can be a little bit tedious. It requires a lot of steps. You can actually upload, if you do have a certificate for them. So for example, if they completed WMIS through a third party, and so they have a WMIS certificate, but they haven't done it on Workhub, if you upload their WMIS certificate here for them, on behalf of that worker, it will automatically mark their course as compliant. So I think that's really convenient as well, to have that ability to kind of go both ways, especially, you know, if you don't want to have to put your workers through that training again. So definitely something important to note. And then this part is a little bit more exciting. So this is what's new here. We have this little box here that says include a fillable version. I have talked to so many of you guys about this, you know, where you may actually be putting a certain document in the forms, asking your workers to download that that form, sign it, and then upload it in certificates. And that can get a little bit confusing for some workers, you know, of course, because they may not be as familiar with Workhub, or it's not very easy to put those instructions somewhere. Alternatively, you could actually have that document uploaded on your SharePoint site, and you don't want to go through the trouble of having to re-upload it. And so that's where this link option is amazing. So you can actually just put a link in there to the form or to the file itself that you need them to download and sign and upload. And, you know, clicking this open link button opens the link in another tab, which is awesome. You can also upload a file. So, you know, again, we've called it fillable version. So if you have a fillable PDF or something like that, you just need them to sign off on their mobile, you can put it right here. And on the worker side, they're just going to see that come up. There's a download this file, they can click on the file, download it, and it's easy because everything is in one place. So I am really excited about this one just because, you know, I've talked to so many of you and you guys have really mentioned that it's something that would make it easier. So I really, really hope that this, you know, adds some value for you guys as well on the certificate, on the certificates module in Workhub, and, you know, that you find some use in it. And then, of course, on the right-hand side here, we have the recommended training providers. So that part is pretty standard, you know, that has always been there. So I'm sure you guys know how to do it. Of course, we have that test link option in there as well. So if you are putting a URL, but this is really great if, you know, it's specifically taking them to training, versus the fillable version is great if you need them to kind of access a specific file or something like that, right? So you have a couple options there in terms of, you know, getting that third-party training or those third-party certifications kind of in there, and keeping it really easy and simple for your workers to access. And so I think that covers like this page pretty well. Of course, then we have the assignments tab. You guys have seen this. This is really standard across all of Workhub. We have the ability to basically set the certificate as not applicable, optional, and required. Of course, required means that it affects their compliance, and optional means that they can access it, but it does not affect their compliance. So I'm sure you guys are all familiar with this part. And then you have your worker compliance itself. So this is also great. You know, at a glance, you can see the worker's position and location. You can also see, you know, whether the certificate was required or optional for them. You can see whether they're compliant. Scheduled column, this will indicate, you know, if they have scheduled training for it, you know, whether when the certificate was issued, when it expires, whether it's been approved. And clicking into this, of course, you can see the worker detail here. You can like rotate the file if you need to. You know, you can crop it. Oftentimes I see somebody will scan this like little card onto this giant piece of paper. And so you may want to crop that just so it's easier for you to kind of see and view on the screen there. We have also made a lot of background improvements to this. So we have made, you know, so hopefully you guys find that this is working a little bit smoother and a lot faster for you too. Of course, you also have the option to download the file, replace it. So if you kind of want to keep all that information correct, but you have to replace it with something, you know, a signature or an approved stamp or you know, company seal or something like that, you can go ahead and do that there. Of course, again, you have the ability to upload new. So this is a good way to kind of upload a new one for your workers. You have your certificate name, so you can change that. So for example, here, the certificate type is driver improvement or defensive driving. But let's say this certificate is specifically for defensive driving. We can just kind of like fix the certificate name there and go ahead and save that as well. And you can change the expiry date. So, you know, sometimes some of you have asked if there is a way that you can make your certificate expire at the end of the year. You would probably just go in here and change the expiry date for that. You know, if they forgot the certificate number, we have it in there, 00531. Sorry, I had to get a little closer. My contact is like, you know, anyways, so So yeah, you can go ahead and adjust that there. And then, you can save or cancel if you don't want to save those changes. And then you also have this next button here, which just takes you to the next certificate that, on that worker compliance list as well. So this is also convenient and easy way to kind of switch between rather than having to go back to the list. You can go ahead if you're checking all of them or updating all of them, whatever the case is. And then of course we have that deletion history, which I will show you on another page as well. And get into that there. So that's the certificate detail itself, like on that specific type. Go ahead and come back to the list. Okay, so that's a good overview of the list and the detail and how to interact with those individual certificates themselves. Now the next tab we have here is pending submission. So as you can see, there is a little icon here which corresponds with the icon that was on the dashboard to show you which ones are pending. Of course, because those are the ones that kind of require your immediate attention. So if we click into it, of course, of course, we have your filters on the right-hand side here, and your ability to download a certificate approval history as well. So if you go ahead and click on this one here, we can see the certificate and we can see the status. Now there is something new on this page as well that I'm excited to show you, and that's this up here on the top right. So this category button. Basically, there could be a case where, a worker uploaded their TDG certificate and the WMIS certificate and the TDG. And even though all of their details and everything like that is correct and corresponds correctly, it's just in the wrong category. And sometimes you may need to change that. So the great thing about this here is you can just change that. So let's say this one here, we can go ahead and delete it, and we can change this to be a client site orientation category instead and just kind of move it. So that keeps all of the details, it keeps all of the logs and everything like that. And it allows us to kind of update the category like that. I showed you guys the name, which you can update. And then of course the issue date and all the information like that. Now the deletion history, and I had kind of shown you this on the worker side, I showed you the log for their expired certificates, but on the admin side, we've added this show deletion history. And so if you toggle that, you can basically see any certificates that were deleted for this worker here. So, he previously had one by the name of company orientation in here that got deleted. And if you click on the little I, it just pulls up this little log for you, and you can see who deleted the certificate and when. Of course, the certificate itself is not visible because it's been deleted, but I still think it is really, really helpful to be able to see who deleted the certificate and when, just in case, if you ever need to reference that, or if you are convinced that there was a certificate in there previously for Mo, why is it another one showing waiting for approval, or why is one showing missing? It was definitely updated a couple weeks ago. You can easily see here who deleted the certificate. And then, of course, you have your approve and reject. I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with this. So if you approve, it will just, update the status to show current. So, and then if you reject, it pulls up this little box here, and you can choose who you need to notify of the rejection, whether that's the holder or the uploader of the certificate. Wow, that is a tongue twister. So, there may be cases where you have a supervisor or an administrator or an HR person or someone like that uploading certificates on behalf of a worker. And let's say, the image is just blurry or something like that. You can simply notify them, and you don't have to notify the worker themselves. Or you could choose to notify both. And you basically just put in a reason. So let's say finger blocking you. I know there's no finger in there, but just pretend with me guys a little bit. So once you put in that reason for rejection, whoever you have checked off here, whichever user, they will get an email, and it will say your certificate for this certificate type was rejected for this reason, and it will also include your name. So if you as the admin are rejecting the certificate, it will tell them that you had rejected it. It will also include your email address so that they can easily contact you if they need to get details or anything like that on the certificate, right? So if we hit reject, that's it. It removes it from the pending submissions page, and it will basically just go back to the status of missing. So the next tab I want to show you is the coming due and the past due tab. So this tab will basically just show you any certificates that are coming due. That's based on the settings. So you can choose what duration you want them to be considered coming due as well as ones that are expired. Now, it is important to note that this page will not show you certificates that are missing. You know, you'll be able to see that on that compliance matrix that I mentioned earlier. But the missing ones are considered non-compliant. So you can see those within the certificate type itself, but this page is specifically for ones that are coming due, past due, because the idea is that you would have everyone compliant on their certificates, you know, as they're getting onboarded, etc. And so you would just need to manage the ones that are kind of expiring or, you know, will become non-compliant. Ones that are already compliant that will become non-compliant. So that's what this tab is for. You know, of course, you can click into it and still make those same edits. So similar to the other views that we've looked at of the certificate itself. You know, you still have your filters here. These ones you can really filter down by position, location, status, you know, even the dates. I'm sure most of you do use this tab as well to track your certificates. So I just wanted to touch on that. And then the next one we have is a scheduled training. Now I'm also excited about this one because you can see that this is like, we've really changed the way that this kind of works and interacts with the certificates. So there is one training scheduled. Here you can see the driver one for Mo, and we did see that on the worker side, right? We saw that banner up there that really showed that his certificate was, that scheduled training was there, and we saw the dates on it. So that's in here. And if you go ahead and click on it here, you can see like the details. So we can see the driver improve, like we can see which certificate it's for. We can definitely change that too. You can set the start date and time. You can also add multiple sessions. You know, maybe it's a 3-part session, you know, like for first aid, I know there's like a class portion and then a physical portion. So maybe that's what it is, right? Maybe you're just scheduling that like physical portion of the certificate or whatever it is, but you can absolutely just click here and kind of add, you know, like multiple times. Of course, it kind of starts with today's time and then you can kind of update it. So let's say we go ahead and did that. We can just like save that as well. And that will kind of update on Mo's side. You can also click to add more workers into this if you need to. So then they'll just appear here. And we can see like the invitation status as well. So we can see that Mo confirmed that scheduled training, which you remember because we did that together. And so that shows right in there as well. And if you go back to this page here, now we will see, so we have that, the workers scheduled, we have the number of workers, we have confirmed, we have one because Mo confirmed it. And then you can see that the other 2 have not viewed it. So it's really easy to also be able to see that kind of at a glance and just be able to tell like, okay, I scheduled this training, 2 workers have not seen it. Of course, you can click into it and view the worker list and kind of, tell by that, but the notifications are on the settings, which we will get to, which is also really exciting. So that's an easier way, I think, to kind of be able to track and monitor that training and just see what's going on there. And then the next tab we have is the history tab. You know, this is not like very, very new, but still like new for Workhub, because previously this used to be under that kind of company compliance, especially on Safety Sync, it was under company compliance. So now it's kind of broken up into its own tab. So you can basically see the average compliance of all your certificates over time. over the week, and you can filter this by division or location. Of course, here I want to point out, it does say compliance is recorded every Monday at 8 a.m. And that setting is basically controlled under your accounts page. You know, when you're setting those compliance reminders based on when that reminder email goes out, that's when this compliance will be updated and recorded. Awesome. And so the last page, the busiest page, of course, the settings. Okay, so let me show you the different settings you have here. Of course, there were those settings that we discussed on the certificate type itself, but these are really your global settings, and you know, they do interact with some more components on the certificate. So the first thing here, you have your certificates component, and the ability to disable or enable. This is the same on, you know, a lot of components across Workhub. You have your default expiry date. Of course, this can be changed on the certificate type itself and then further on the certificate, so you can get really microscopic with it. But this is a, you know, just a general way to kind of say, you know, you want all your certificates to expire after 3 years, and, you know, just in order to kind of track and update and review them if you need to. And then the next one we have here, when is a certificate considered compliant? And you have the ability to set it to after approval or on submission. So based on your safety program, you may feel like you want to review your worker certificates and kind of go through them and approve them, you know, before they're considered compliant. If you were to change this to on submission, when the worker uploaded their certificate, rather than it showing a waiting for approval status and you seeing it show up in the pending submissions queue as an admin, it would just show current once they uploaded it. So it would go from missing to current. Depending on, you know, how your organization is tracking compliance, if you do have more admins or HR people uploading certificates on workers' behalf, you may just want to leave this as to on submission because you know that somebody is already looking at that certificate. But if you feel like you need somebody, if you yourself want to review it just to ensure all the details are there, or you know, you want somebody on your team to review it, then you would set that to after approval. Awesome. So the next two settings here we have regarding safety points. So if you guys have any further details on that or are using the rewards program, feel free to chat with us, you know, send us a chat or give us a call and we'd be happy to go over that. I'm just going to go over the general ones right now. So the next one we have enable assignments of certificates by location. So as you can see here, we have a disclaimer that says we do recommend leaving this feature disabled unless you are a very large and complex organization. This is just going to add another level, and it's a lot harder to kind of track. But if you do have a case where you have multiple locations and, you know, you have workers spread across all of those locations, and different locations have different, and their positions have different requirements. If you need that intersectionality, you may need to turn this on. Basically, when you are then assigning, it will open up another pop-up and you will have to kind of fine tune by location. So first you'll set the position and then you will get a pop-up to allow you to pick the locations, and you can choose whether they're not applicable, optional, or required at certain locations. So you're kind of creating like cross requirements that way. The next one we have here, and these are the two that are brand new related to that scheduled training that I was mentioning before. So you have send invite notifications to attendees for scheduled training, and you have the ability, of course it includes like a little meeting attachment, like an ICS file, and they can, you know, add it to their calendar, which is super convenient. I love that. I love like receiving emails that just have the calendar thing in it and it just merges into my calendar. I just find it so easy because then I don't have to manually do anything. You know, it's great. So for this one, you do have the ability of choosing whether you want your workers to be notified by email, SMS, or both about that scheduled training. So again, like we have never really had that ability to notify them by SMS of scheduled training before. So I think that's awesome, you know, to just kind of have them see it right away or send them an email, then at least they kind of know if their certificate is expired, like what's coming up for them. And then the last one here, we have how long before scheduled training should reminders be sent? And you have the option of 18 hours or 42 hours. We kind of just wanted to offset it rather than have it be 24 hours because we didn't want to kind of cause that confusion of the date. You know, I'm not sure if this has happened to you guys, but it's definitely happened to me where I've gone super alarmed and been like, oh my God, it's the wrong, like, is it today? I thought it was tomorrow, and then just kind of freak out only to find out that was totally unnecessary. So that's why we kind of decided to offset it just to make it a little bit more clear as to when that training is going to occur and that it's like, you know, tomorrow, not today. But yeah, so you can also send those reminders. So the first one will send them that notification just saying like there has been training scheduled for you and they can put it in their calendar. And the second one is just reminder. And as you can see here, the reminder will not be sent if the invite was sent less than 3 days before. You know, we don't really want to like spam those workers or, you know, kind of like put too many messages into their text. They're going to be like overwhelmed with it. But having that reminder is also convenient, I think, you know, just so that they can kind of know that that's coming up. So those are some of the new things in certificates. I hope you guys find some value in that and really, you know, think that that was helpful. I will go through the Q&A now and just see what people are asking in here, and maybe we can go through it. Okay, let's see here. Fred, please feel free to contact us. Unfortunately, I don't have the tools that I need to access individual accounts right now. So if you do need to download that compliance matrix, definitely send us an email. You can send it to support@workhub.com. You can chat with us. You can give us a phone call, and you know we'll be able to help you out with that one. Dana is asking if there's a way to assign certificates per person rather than position. Unfortunately not, because on Workhub, all of our assignments are set up by position. Again, it is something you might want to check out on our product board because we do have that kind of on the roadmap there. So you may want to look at that and, you know, share your thoughts or any perspective you want to add to that. What I generally do recommend is kind of setting that as optional then for the position, and then just kind of telling the workers that they need to upload their certificate there. That way, you know, they can access it and it's not affecting compliance for the entire position. Hi, Dave. I do believe Dave, is asking on the report if there's a way to show what is required and optional. I do believe that the report does kind of have a compliance column that clarifies that. But again, like feel free to chat with us, and you know we can discuss that further when I have your details in front of me. Hi, Valerie. Valerie's asking about pricing. Valerie, we will reach out to you after. I will maybe ask someone from the sales team to reach out to you because they would better be able to discuss pricing with you. Thank you for joining. Hi, Dave. Again, so when you do initially create the scheduled training, the worker is going to get a notification. And so that's where that email and SMS option comes in. So they will get a notification then, and then you can set that reminder to happen. Awesome. If anyone has any more questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A now. If not, thank you all for joining me on this wintry Thursday, you know, end of March. I hope everyone's looking forward to the long weekend and, you know, has a really, really awesome April. It was nice to chat with all of you and have a great day. See you at the next one. Bye.